This was the first ever assassination of a United Nations diplomat on the streets of New York City. The aftermath of the Cuban Revolution in 1959 resulted in several waves of migration of Cubans into the United States. Many of these Cuban exiles wished to return to a Cuba free of Fidel Castro and his government, and to that end, they formed political organizations dedicated to opposing him. Among these organizations were a subset of radicals who advocated for an international campaign of violence and sabotage targeting the Cuban government. One of these organizations was formed in 1974 and became known as Omega 7. It was founded by Eduardo Erosena, an anti-Castro militant who resided in New Jersey. He gathered together veterans of the failed Bay of Pigs invasion to form the nucleus of his new group, which would begin an armed campaign in 1975. Most of Omega 7's activities took the form of bombings targeting anything they saw as affiliated or cooperating with Castro's Cuba. These included embassies and consulates of countries that had relations with Cuba, moderate exile organizations, and Cuban diplomatic facilities. However, the group also tried its hand at assassinations, which included a failed attempt on Castro's life during a UN meeting and the successful killing of Eulalio Negrin, a moderate exile who advocated for dialogue with Cuba. On September 11, 1980, an attaché to the Cuban mission to the United Nations named Félix García Rodríguez was driving from Queens to Manhattan after visiting a friend. At around 6:30 p.m., a gunman opened fire on his vehicle with a MAC-10 submachine gun. Two bullets struck Garcia Rodriguez, killing him instantly. About 10 minutes later, someone called several newspapers and claimed responsibility for the attack on behalf of Omega 7. The group referred to Garcia Rodriguez as a traitor and threatened to assassinate the Cuban ambassador to the UN next. Garcia Rodriguez was the first UN diplomat to be killed in New York City since the founding of the organization in 1945. Felix Garcia Rodriguez's killer is believed to be Pedro Ramon Rodriguez, one of Omega 7's main gunmen. It is also believed that he was the one who called in the claim of responsibility to the newspapers. He has also been linked to the earlier killing of Eulalio Negrin. In 1986, Ramon Rodriguez was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his role in an attempted assassination of the Cuban UN ambassador, as well as a bombing of the Cuban UN mission. He was never convicted of Garcia Rodriguez's assassination. Omega 7 would cease to exist in 1983 after Eduardo Erosena was arrested. If you enjoyed this, follow for more stories of America's underground.